I'm joined here with Craig Reinhardt, all the way from Gorey in County Wexford.
Fun Gorey!
Craig, start off by telling us, how did you come to be in Arizona with Demerara Harvesting?
I suppose it all started 7 years ago now. I was travelling in Australia with a friend of mine back in 2010, right after I left school actually. And kind of done a 3-month holiday in Australia, and sort of felt that we didn't really want to go home at that stage, so we got in touch with a guy who had done the harvest here with Demerara Harvesting, and got in touch with him, and he put us in touch with Tim, and came out in April 2010. I suppose for the last 6-7 years just been back to them ever since.
So how many seasons have you done with Demerara?
This is my 7th season this year.
Right. And when you came out first, what was your first job? What did you start off doing?
I started off running a tractor and grain cart. I ran the tractor and grain cart for the first 2 seasons, and then I ran a truck for the 3rd season, and then for the last 3 years I've been in the combine. This is my 4th year in the combine.
Yeah, and it's a fairly impressive combine that we're sitting in here now. Can you tell us a bit about what it is?
Yeah, the model combines we're using are Case IH 8240 axial flow combines, running a 40-foot flex draper head made also by Case.
Very good. And how old is this combine?
Brand new.
Brand new.
Yeah. So every year at the end of the season we'll trade our combines and heads.
And replace them with new ones.
And replace them with new ones. And probably the biggest reason I suppose for doing that is for maintenance. I mean, the amount of acres we'll take in every year. We just can't afford to have downtime and have a machine broke down in the field, so we always have to,
keep them going.
You always have to keep them going, and the best way I think for us to do that is with new machines.
So Craig, what do you love about this combine? What keeps bringing you back every year?
I suppose a lot of it is to do with the lifestyle and weather. I mean, the weather is a big thing. Anyone that's in Ireland will agree with me on that one.
Yeah.
In Arizona here today, it's supposed to reach 40 degrees heat. The weather's just fantastic all year round. We follow, like when we start down in Arizona in May, or April, we'll follow the summer the whole way up through South Dakota. For the last 2 months it gets a little bit cold, alright, winter and stuff in South Dakota.
But even cold is not Irish cold.
No, absolutely. It's not damp, miserable cold. It's a dry cold. And I suppose, the weather is a big thing. The scale of farming out here, I suppose, is another thing that draws me back to it every year. It's in my opinion, you get to see anything like it anywhere else in the world.
The size of the machinery, the scales of how they do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a real go-to destination for anybody that's machinery mad.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, any young farmer that wants to get out and experience something different in the world before he comes back to the farm or whatever, it's, in my opinion, it's,
a no-brainer.
A no-brainer.
How many guys have you in your crew this year in total?
The total number of employees is 38, I believe.
38.
Yeah.
Out of how many of them are Irish?
There's roughly 20 Irish.
So out of 38 employees, the majority of them are Irish.
Yeah, that's usually the way we'll do it. I mean, for the 7 years I've been here, it's always been majority Irish. We'll take, usually 20 to 25 Irish lads out every year.
And why do the Irish get on so well here?
Yeah, I mean that's all. It's always everyone asks the same question. Why does he hire Irish people? Why is it always Irish people? The reason Tim gives for it is the young Irish guy seems to have a closer relationship with his family. So it seems that he's more honest and more. Once he makes a commitment, he'll stick to that commitment basically.
You were telling me last night at dinner about the interview process.
Yeah, so every year we'll basically, once our harvest season finishes in November or December, depending on the weather, whenever it is, we'll start taking applications in for say this year, it'll be for the 2017
For the next year, yeah.
So we'll take applications in, and once we review applications, then what we'll do is we'll do phone interviews first, and if a guy passes a phone interview or he's sounds good enough over the phone, then we'll face-to-face interview them.
So sit down interview.
Sit down. Every year we'll be in Ireland probably usually the last 2 weeks in February.
Right.
And yeah, we'll be conducting interviews kind of throughout the whole country.
And what's the best way if somebody is mad interested in doing this and likes what we're doing and wants to do it next year? What's the best way that they can apply? How do they find out information?
If they're looking for information, if they go onto our Facebook page at Demery Harvesting and Trucking,
Okay.
they'll find information on that. If they have any questions, they can send a private message to that. I have access to the private message on it, so I mean I'd be happy.
Goes direct to you?
Yeah, it goes direct to me, so I'd be happy to answer any questions anyone would have.
Perfect. As far as visas for guys that are thinking of making the trip and that, what's the requirements of visa? What's the process?
The visa process is all very simple. Basically, Demery Harvesting will apply for a certain number of H2A visas every year.
H2A.
H2A visas, yeah.
Okay.
And once those visas are granted to the company, he can disperse them however he wants. So, say for example, if we interviewed a guy in Ireland and we gave him the job, he would then go and set up an interview with the US consulate in Dublin.
Okay.
And he'd go there and do an interview for a visa, for a petition number that we would give him,
Okay.
which is for that visa. So he'd go and do his interview for that visa, and then, if the US consulate granted the visa, he's good to go. The visas are all, there's no cost to the employee for the visa.
There's no cost?
No, but they would pay, it's like $190 that they would pay up front for the visa.
Okay.
And then once they get out to the States and get into work and get their first paycheck, that visa cost will be reimbursed to them.
Oh, they get it back?
Yeah.
Oh, very good. So it's free, essentially?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. I mean, flights, we work on a very similar system, so anyone we take out, they'll pay for the flights up front.
They pay for their own flights?
They'll pay for their own flights up front.
Okay.
And once they get out here, then the first half, in their first paycheck, they would get the first half of their airfare back.
Right.
And then halfway through the season, they would get the second half of their airfare back.
And how long does a visa last?
The visas run usually from March 15th until January 15th the following year.
And what would you say to somebody that was considering doing it?
I'd say
What's your advice to them?
my advice is always the same. I mean, it's the experience of a lifetime. You gain invaluable experience out here on harvest and something that you can take home abroad. In my opinion, abroad is a young lad's mind.
So that's it, Craig. Listen, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us and for letting us have a look around and take a few photos and videos.
Yep.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for calling in to see us.
No problem.
Always good to see some Irish out here.
Thanks, Craig.